All right, welcome to the second video of the week. This one's an impressions, um, because it is an early access title at time of recording, and it is Underspace, the spiritual successor to Freelancer. Like, okay, that's going to require some explanation, but in a bit. With a Lovecraftian sandbox RPG twist.
It's shocking. I don't think this is the first time freelance has been invoked on this podcast. So
I mean, that's a bit of a deep dive.
I know it's
Like,
just weird. It's happened more than once.
has it?
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
I guess it has because I don't remember it at all. Like, but yeah. Explore a vast handmade universe with day one mod support and a planned PvP / co-op multiplayer on the early access roadmap. You're going to need a bigger ship. My question is how big the team is behind this, because, that is a blurb filled with ambition. Yeah.
Indeed.
So before we get started properly, so Free Space, that is probably the last of the great PC space sim games. Like, and it was a very weird one. When someone invokes this genre, the games that are going to come up are like Wing Commander or Free Space, what have you. Freelancer is beloved by some, despised by others. And that's because of the way it controls. Because, the traditional way of controlling a space sim is joystick. But Free Space dared to do something different. They made it mouse and keyboard as the primary control method, which I've never played Freelancer. But from what I've heard, it's something that takes a bit of readjustment to get used to. But, when you get the hang of the learning curve, it works wonders, surprisingly enough. It's just, Free Space came out and, they're very close together.
At least you're not calling it free cell.
Yeah. Freelancer came out.
Yes, notable space simulator, Free Cell.
Yeah, I mean, Free Space is a space sim, like to some the definitive space sim. Technically, Free Space 2, but Anyway, Freelancer came out in 2003, and it's like, once again, the last great PC space sim I can think of until the new Elite game from a few years back. And, technically there's, I'm trying to remember the game that's been in development for 100,000 years.
Yeah, the they want all your money game.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've thought about it.
Is it Eve?
No. From Cloud Imperium Games.
Oh yeah.
Star Citizen.
That.
Like I said, it's been longer than I thought. Since I last thought about Star Citizen anything. Still in development, by the way. Like,
and still give you much more content if you spend over 10 grand.
Still $16 million in development.
Yep. Like, anyway, getting back to the core here. So, my question to Petty is, does this control with a mouse and keyboard like Freelancer did? Or would... That's what I thought. Because I'm like, that's the big thing when it comes to freelancer. If you're not really invoking the world, the universe, but I know of freelancer, but I don't know the world, the universe, if you will. So any sort of homages or what have you that this game is making towards that directly, it's going to be beyond our knowledge.
Yeah, I barely remember playing Freelancer. Like, I had the disc because it was my brother-in-law's, and he kind of just left it here with his stuff and played some of it, but I maybe got like a couple hours into it, if that.
Yeah. We gotta bug one of the classic preservation developers that we know to unearth free space. But that aside, how is the game in its current state?
Well, I guess one thing to note is it is very still in development. To the point that the most, if not all, the voice acting is currently AI placeholders. So if that bothers you for whatever reason,
well, when you say AI, you mean the push to talk thing, right?
Like the TikTok speech thing.
Yeah, unless generative AI bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I'm not seeing
the text-to-speech AI thing, and not, they've generated the monsters with AI, because if it was that, this would have been closed immediately, and I'd be like, avoid this game like the plague.
Well, yeah, it's like there's no disclaimer on Steam, and you have to have that.
Yeah. But yeah, they're just using the AI for like the voice actor placeholders, and they've made, even in-game have mentioned, hey, yeah, this is just placeholder. We're looking into, getting actors, which that's fair.
Well, yeah, once again, that's that's the that's the way early access sometimes works.
Yep.
Sometimes the emphasis is really on that early part.
Yeah. And like even some of the story spots don't have any voice acting, so.
But the good news is, according to the early access roadmap, the game is currently content complete. It's just
like the voice acting and finer touches they're dealing with.
Right. Basically the polish phase.
Right.
Anyway, with that in mind, you may proceed to go on in detail.
So yeah, it's your basic of your genre story, this, where you've pissed off some nobles and you have been exiled from the planet you are living on, stripped of all your wealth, and a friend has given you a starship and told you to go make a name somewhere else, as one does. On your way off world, you kind of join up with some bandits, or not, well, not really bandits, but like mercenaries, probably a better word for it. And you kind of go venture off and do various jobs. From what I've seen, a lot of the travel is in real time. And your ship can only go so fast. I don't know if there's like a high-speed warp drive that unlocks later with bigger ships, or what. I didn't get that far into this. And yeah, here it's talking about how docking works. Ask for permission. Range. Left click. Okay, and then And yeah, you can dock into all of that. There is, you can kind of lock your camera in the direction you're pointing, and then hit the space button to go into what they call free flight mode, where you can use your mouse and keyboard. Well, it's mostly mouse controlled flight, and then WASD, you can double tap S and D to use your dodge thrusters, or A and D, and then S and W are your forward and back thrusters. There is no up and down in space, so if you get kind of disoriented, you can turn off free flight, and it will try to flip you to what should be up and down relatively.
You're reminding me of when I played Descent as a kid, and I think I managed to get lost without actually firing the thrusters at all.
There is a lot of descent in here.
Except you're like in relatively open space instead of mostly in caves.
Yes. Oh, docking target. All right. But yeah. And then you can go to various worlds. You can trade your goods, get your money, get better ships. As you do. Outside of the ship, it's your regular FPS. You got some light jumping, but I don't know if there's any like actual platforming. You can talk to people. Oh yeah, talking to people is kind of weird. You can right click to free your mouse button and then talk to somebody. It's kind of weird. Not a fan. I don't think there's any form of like first person, combat. Any combat is done out in space dogfighting. Oh yeah, there is a run button. I held the run button. There is also a crouch button, but again, I haven't seen anything combat-wise where I would need to use that. You can buy things. Yeah, like I can buy stuff to repair my ship. I can buy food and stuff that I can, use and so on. And just yeah, this is a pretty okay game. Again, here's where we get to my problems with it. If you don't get motion sick, because this does nothing to alleviate that. So the rolling around and stuff like that, and when you're actually dogfighting, is very nauseating to me. So I'm guessing this is why Adam gave it to me, because he's an ass. The silence is telling, friend. The silence is telling.
No, it was just your turn.
I'm a little bit distracted.
It's fine.
It was just your turn to get a code.
Sure. And oh yeah, there are like little tabs you can warp around to places in station, so it's not like you have to walk around everywhere. But yeah, I didn't get too far in here because again, the sickness. The story seems fairly rote. Like if you've seen space space story like this, you've probably seen them all. The ship designs are a thing. How do I get my launch into space? Alrighty. Because yeah, here is your piddly little starter ship. Stop, please. Thank you. I have scanners. And yeah, you got full range of motion in free flight. You can double tap the left and right, or S and D to kind of dodge, which is useful. You can double tap W to engage your high speed. You can't fire weapons in this mode. And then there's also kind of these gates up here that are kind of like a highway of sorts, where you go super, super fast in a set, like, to almost like rest stops and stuff like that. You can go along the way. It cuts down on travel. I don't think you can be in combat going on one of these pathways. And yeah. Any other questions or comments from you guys?
Not really.
Yeah. Can't really comment on the voice acting because there's not really a whole lot in here, because most of it's just, AI text to speech. And you got inventory, so various weapon parts and stuff like that you can sell. As they kind of alluded to, there you can get contraband to which will sell for higher prices because, contraband. There's a very, very large world map. Because, like, this is just, the starting-ish area. And it gets a lot bigger. Here's the information log. And yeah, there's a lot of deep lore here. I'm sure for somebody who's more into the, space drama would be, more into this than me. I guess that's kind of it. Unless you guys have any other questions or comments or concerns.
Well, I will chime in with the pricing.
Yep.
And that is $20. And according to the roadmap notes here, they do not plan to increase the price when it reaches 1.0.
Yeah, for $20,
Yeah.
if the free motion flight stuff doesn't cause an issue for you, or you're not put off by their currently using placeholder or AI voice acting stuff, sure, go ahead. Because it looks like the flying around is most of the game. So if you're like me, who gets kind of nauseated by this, it's a certain avoid. If you're looking for story, not really sure how much I can comment on that, because I wasn't able to get far enough in to be like, oh my god, this is the greatest story ever, better than Starfield, which I mean is a low bar, but that's a digging for another day for me.
I'm gonna put Starfield on the schedule 1 week just so you can get that out of your system.
That means I have to re-download it again, you rat bastard.
Don't threaten us with an interesting time then.
I guess fair. But yeah, the game is fine.
Okay.
And I guess that's it for me.
All right then. So that'll about do it for this game. Be sure to tune in after the break as Golix will be reviewing Venetrix.